Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. There is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets, and no greater live stream to open your week with. Welcome, guys. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great Easter weekend, spending time with your family, really doing anything, of course, but looking at charts. It was a great time for that, at least until Sunday night. When Bitcoin started to perk up a little bit. We'll talk about that. Of course, I'm going to have to mention the words that nobody wants to say, but we all can see the elephant in the room: relative strength. But first, guys, I'm Tommy. You guys also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined by Max, Prometheus, and of course, Big Louie. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, right? Bitcoin decided to perk up against the market. But yeah, really yesterday, crypto started to rally, specifically Bitcoin, which I think is up about 3,000 points from Sunday open. Really, even before that, it was kind of showing a little bit. It has been showing a lot of resilience against this equity market weakness here for about a week. We have officially gotten some movement out of last week's range. We will see what we get from here, right? Is this a fake out, or is this the beginning of a much larger trend higher? Before we can get too deep into the conversation, though, guys, I think you know what I'm about to ask you. You can summon all of the good spirits that you had this weekend. Like I said, spending time with family, enjoying Easter weekend, whatever it may be. If you could hit the like button for us, we would be extremely appreciative, as always. And you guys really help us continue to grow our channel when you do that. But yeah, let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? I mean, I already kind of have. Bitcoin's up 3 or 4% today on a day where, you know, you look across the board at equity markets, the S&P and the NASDAQ are both down 2.5%. Individual names like Tesla, Nvidia down 5%. Taiwan Semiconductor, right, which is often viewed as one of the more important charts in tech, also down 3%, but Bitcoin is up. Crypto is green. Is this another case where one of the two are lying and front running the other? Is this just a new paradigm where we're potentially seeing idiosyncratic flows into Bitcoin as a result of fears of currency devaluation, right? Whether that's the yuan, whether that's the dollar, whether that's any currency in general, right? I mean, we're kind of seeing, we're seeing a continued push of capital into these non-sovereign storage as a value. It's been a while since I've gotten to use that phrase, but I have always said this is ultimately going to be where crypto will thrive as you get these fears over currency devaluation. Is that what we're seeing with Bitcoin right now? And now, obviously, we're going to need to see this strength continue from Bitcoin, of course, and then eventually bleed over into alts. But you have to say it's a pretty positive start to the week for crypto against some very heavily bearish flows thus far in equity markets. I'm very interested, guys, to see what happens this week. And, you know, before we went live, I was kind of saying to Prometheus and Louie, I have no idea how this week is going to go. I do think, however, we have one of the more interesting backdrops to start the week that I can remember, right? Where I think you have a legitimate case for Bitcoin to be showing this strength. But of course, like I said, equities have a very bearish slant right now. Which one is going to win out, or are they just flat out decoupling? We're going to debate that and more on this show, guys. But how are we doing? What are we seeing in the markets? Is there anything that really sticks out to you about the price action that we're seeing? I mean, of course, Bitcoin is showing a lot of strength against equities, but anything, you know, kind of across the board that really sticks out to you guys today?
Bro, I'm sorry. I want to address that because you did a great job, but I just have to put this headline on the screen real quick because I genuinely can't believe that this is a real quote from our president. And I just saw this and I'm like, this is just the most hilarious, like this is real. Like this just came out this morning. And he just said this.
Mr. Late, Mr.
Loser.
Bro, he's like a bully at recess in middle school.
Bro does not like Jerome Powell.
President Trump says Fed Chair Jerome Powell is a major loser. Like he didn't even try to attack anything he's done. He was just like, you know what, blanket statement. Just a major loser. Like doesn't
Mr. Too Late.
Yeah, Mr. Always Too Late. That's what he's calling him. I don't know, man. I can't believe this is a real headline. Like, just, I bet Powell is just hating life right now, man. He's probably like, this is the worst. I'm just completely in his crosshairs, you know. Like I feel bad for him. Like it's not funny, but it is kind of funny, you know, at the same time. But yeah, good morning, guys. Hope everybody is doing well. Happy Easter. Powell crying in the shower. Yeah, he might be. He's probably just like, this is terrible, man. Like, let me do my job. Why are you calling me the biggest loser? Like, it's but yeah, I mean, we're seeing a lot of strength out of crypto against or in the face of what equities are doing. I talked a bit this morning with our community about it. I don't like the term relative strength because usually it ends up being the biggest fade of all time. I think it's really more just a cause of like lead and lag to a bottom where, you know, we could go throughout history and pinpoint a half dozen examples of, you know, Bitcoin nuking before equities and then also carving out a bottom before equities. So I don't think it's like a relative strength. I guess it always could be. I don't think it is necessarily. But I think it's more just a result of like our downside already happened. And hopefully we carve out our bottom before. We nuked before equities. We should bottom before equities. We've seen that happen. I mean, I think probably, and I'm just going to share this real quick and then we can hop back to Louis' charts because he's going Chart Nation today. But like if we look at Bitcoin NASDAQ, I mean, this is not a chart that screams to me like here. Actually, let's just go back to lower time frame. This chart to me does not scream, oh, crypto is lagging equities to the downside. This is the Bitcoin NASDAQ pair chart. This chart to me screams, oh, we're going to go higher. We're breaking out against the NASDAQ. I think you could only claim like we're about to nuke against equities is if we get up and we sweep this wick and then you start to see like, you know, like this kind of thing, right? Then you could try to make the case to me and you'd probably be right. You could say, okay, like this was a scam pump. Crypto is going to start nuking. Equities are nuking. It's actually worse than the Great Depression. And this is going to be the Great Depression. Okay. And the dollar is going to go to zero. And every fiat currency is going to zero while Bitcoin's going to zero. The grid is going to black out. We'll have no electricity. Crypto's gone. You know what I mean? That's what this would be up here. But until then, like, this is not a chart that tells me that crypto is lagging and equities nuke at all. That's not accurate. It's too early to say something like that, given how this pair chart looks. And we could look at, SPX as well. This is also a chart here. This is also a chart. I don't know what these squiggles are from. This chart is also not telling me, hey, like crypto is lagging. Crypto's now, it was leading equities to the downside, and now it's actually lagging to the downside. Like it's not doing that. That's not what these pair charts are telling me. It's telling me the opposite. It's telling me we nuked early because again, this is Bitcoin SPX. So if this is down, stocks are holding up better than crypto. If this is up, crypto's holding up better than stocks. This pair chart is telling me all the information I need, which is crypto is bullish against equities. You can spin it however you want, but this does not look like a very vulnerable chart to me. It doesn't. A vulnerable chart on a pair like this. Oh, I can't do bar replay on this. It's super annoying. This is a vulnerable chart, right? Like if none of this existed right here and it was just sitting here on support, just like hitting it over and over and over and over again, I'd be like, okay, crypto looks vulnerable against equities. Like probably better to hold the S&P than Bitcoin. But that's not what we're seeing. We're not seeing this. We're seeing this shit curling up, right, in a big way. And on top of that, I'm pretty sure we add our 6-month VWAP on here too. I'm pretty sure we held it nice. Maybe it was the other one. We were on one of the pair charts. We were holding it quite nicely. Yeah, man, this is not a bearish chart here. Like not at all. So that's why I'm like, I don't like the argument that we're somehow lagging. We led the drop for equities. And now we're both also leading drops and lagging drops. It's like you don't get both. You don't get double screwed. You get screwed once. This is bullish. This is a bullish chart. So I don't think we're like waiting for more downside. I think it's like, to me, it feels a little bit more like, come on, baby, let's load. It's feeling a little bit more to me like this over here. Like it feels like a September, October, and Louis, you've talked about this example. Maybe I won't spoil it all today. You can take some of these examples, but it feels to me more like we're breaking higher than waiting to break lower. Anyways, that was a mouthful, but it is what it is. Louis, back. I'll put you back on the chart. You're up, meat stick.
Look at that little meat stick right there. Yeah, Bitcoin looking good today, It's funny. It's like the decoupling of crypto to equities is like it's like a running joke at this point. Which I like, it's like everyone just makes fun of it. It's like, yeah, like relative strength, like say the word, like, and then it's over,
They're like relative strength, crucify him, get him.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it's a meme until it's not, right? We've seen instances where crypto does outperform equities. We've seen instances where the S&P continues to roll over and makes new lows, where Bitcoin finds a bottom and, rips 50 to 60%. We've seen that within the last couple of years. But because everyone has the memory of a goldfish, it's like, and the price action is just so horrible for many months, people forget that it's possible, right? People forget that it's possible. But if you really look at it in hindsight, what we see going on a macro scale, and I'm not even close to a macro expert. I know everything at pretty much face value. I don't look too deep into this stuff. I mainly focus on price action, and that's kind of my wheelhouse. But crypto could be becoming, and people are making fun of me for this, and they probably still will, but when you look around at the macro scale, what's going on with the different countries, the US, China, trade war, tariffs, blah, 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 currencies, debasement, whatever you want to look at, there's one asset class, or technically two asset classes that are sitting here that are not directly correlated to this stuff, right? You got gold, which we could see what's happening with gold, right? Making fresh high after fresh high after fresh high. Why? Because gold is not related to any of this tariff trade war nonsense. If anything, it's more or less like a safe haven. It's actually acting like it should. The other asset class, that's one, sitting at extreme value, and two, not directly correlated or affected at all by trade wars, tariffs, debasement of currencies, is Bitcoin and crypto. That's really all it comes down to, right? In the simplest of terms, right? There's many other things you can look at, whatever. But in simplest of terms, this is what we're looking at. This is our situation. You have equities that are dependent on a country, which is the US, or whatever country you're buying equities in, a country they're attached to businesses making profits. You don't have that in crypto, right? So crypto being, a mostly speculative asset class, not, everyone says there's no value to it. There's no inherent value. There's nothing backed by anything. In this case, it's kind of it works in crypto's favor, right? It kind of works in crypto's favor where crypto has no attachment to any of this. There's no tariffs on crypto. There's no tariffs on farts, right? I've said this weeks ago, and I was kidding, but I'm serious. Like it's just true. Like you can't tariff crypto. You can't put a trade war or unless, the world governments are attacking crypto again. But that kind of saga is behind us. We're in a new kind of era where U.S. governments are finding ways to support crypto and embrace it versus attack it, right? So in my eyes, crypto is a great place to have your money or look for opportunities in an uncertain macro environment that we're in today. And I've been screaming that from the rooftops for months now. And we're starting to see it play out a little bit. So let's see if we hold on to it, right? We still got work to do as far as altcoins and ETH are concerned. But, Bitcoin, if you guys have been following along on the show, or if you guys are in the Discord or even on Twitter, I even posted this chart on Twitter a couple times, right? Daily downtrend, been capping us since the highs we made at the day of the inauguration, right? Major downtrend. We broke this a week and a half ago, but we didn't really move right away. We kind of just consolidated. And that wasn't inherently a bearish thing. We kind of broke it, consolidated, and now we're seeing the follow through, right? I talked about the daily RSI above the 50 level, right? Daily RSI above the 50 level on Bitcoin is a bullish green light, right? As long as the daily RSI remains above the 50, we hold on to this downtrend break. Eventually, we were going to start to push, right? And I've been saying that in the last couple of shows. And now we're seeing it, right? Now we're seeing it. We're seeing RSI curl up, push off the 50 level where, we had this about a week-long range consolidation after this downtrend break. Sure, many people tried to short this back down because that's kind of been what we've been seeing for the last couple months. But we're breaking higher, right? So nice daily candle on Bitcoin thus far. I think this, the start of this move is a start, to kind of bring us back to our range lows or our market structure we lost back in February. And I think coming up into 92, 93K level is going to give us all the information we need going into the rest of the year, right? And what I mean by that is Bitcoin going to be able to reclaim, right, lost market structure, get back inside, flip it, and then start heading higher? If we reclaim it, price acceptance back inside the range, we're likely going for another leg or at minimum range highs, right, or all-time highs. Or is Bitcoin doing this? Coming up, bearish underside retest, can't get back inside the market structure, starts to roll over. Okay, this is the dead cat bounce. And, you can't get back inside the range. Okay, this is your opportunity. Take some risk off the table if you haven't already or weren't able to before this major downturn. And then kind of wait and see what happens. So 92, 93K, a big level on the chart. And where honestly everyone should be watching, in my opinion. I think it's the most important thing for crypto as a whole right now is seeing how we react up at this level. But at this point, seeing the movement we're seeing today, I think it's almost, it's pretty much a lock that we're coming up into this area. What happens at this area is what we need to kind of figure out once we get there.
Yeah, I completely agree, Lou. I mean, an absolute cook right there. But I mean, there's a clear bid for Bitcoin right now, and whether or not that's associated due to the uncertainty, around like the United States and a currency war, is kind of to be determined. But somebody is bidding Bitcoin here. With size, we have the broader indices down almost 2.5% today, and you have Bitcoin well up over 3%. And, what would be kind of like the most, or almost 4% on the day, excuse me. What would kind of be like one of the most ironic things is Bitcoin kind of becoming are coming to fruition. The whole narrative and thesis that it's a hedge against the fiat, the collapse of the, global fiat currency system, and that happening, much sooner potentially than than some may think. That would kind of be crazy. But no, I mean, I don't think we have like a collapse of the fiat system, but
Does
it is.
anybody on this show think that that's about to happen? Maybe anybody at all?
I don't think we're
Show of
about to
hands.
see the collapse of a fiat system, but I do think that we could see some pretty aggressive volatility on things like the dollar in the coming weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's very apparent. Like, people are scared to hold the dollar right now.
I mean, look at the chart real quick, Louis. Sorry, Prometheus, I want you
No,
to
you're
keep
good.
talking, but
Yeah.
Louis, just throw up DXY real quick on like the weekly,
I got
and
you.
then Prometheus, let's just have you talk over DXY.
Because
Yeah.
I think it's important.
it's
It's
nuts.
important to mention, like, the reason stocks are selling off right now is basically because there are fears that U.S. markets are no longer investable.
Yeah, I think last week we had the largest like foreign capital flee from US markets that we've ever seen before. But like, regardless of the fact, we see some stability, we see some resolution in, the global trade and the global economy. I mean, I think this thing probably mean reverts really hard. I've noted and touched on too, you have huge size coming in on the VIX on both sides of the trade at 50 and at 16. You have equity markets, specifically E-mini futures markets, the order book's thinner than they've ever been before. And because of this, either move, you get up or down at this point. And I'm very much in the same camp as Tommy. Like, from a directionality standpoint, it's very hard to call at this point, where with complete certainty where we're headed. But like I said, the order books are very thin, and whichever direction you resolve, it's going to be exacerbated because of that super thin order book that we're seeing right now in E-mini futures. And so you play smart with your size. I mean, you could get paid out, and you get direction right, you could get paid very, very, very handsomely. But yeah, I mean, Dixie is collapsing right now. That is very, very apparent. And we just want to see, reassurance that being in the dollar is not, it's not worrisome to be in the dollar, like Tommy was saying, that you can actually invest in U.S. equity markets and not be like punished as a foreign entity being in the United States U.S. equity markets. But yeah, man, I mean, Dixie is absolutely freaking collapsing right here, and crypto is showing a lot of strength. Like, it has to be noted. There's somebody is bidding Bitcoin hard right now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little
Look at IBIT.
the pace of the dollar's decline maybe is, it's not that it's going down that's the problem. It's, I feel like the pace of it is telling you that maybe something is amok. And to that I say, did you even say thank you one time? Have any of you said thank you since this decline began?
Yeah,
But
this drop has been coming quick.
Yeah, very, very
I
quick.
mean, the question is, one, so does foreign money or even domestic money believe that our markets are investable anymore, or do they have an interest given what's going on? Then two, what about our US debt? If the dollar is rapidly declining and people are losing faith in our government, I feel like things get really out of control when they basically stop having faith, that when people want to stop buying our government debt and doing business with the US in general, it's like, then we can get, then we can really have a problem. Like gold rallying, DXY nuking, equities nuking. What are yields doing?
It's a
I
good
don't
question.
know.
But to that point, Max, with the US debt, we had one of the best auctions we've had in over a year and a half, like 2 Fridays ago.
Yeah.
Like, people wanted to buy US debt. Like, we had one of the best auctions that we've had in a long, long time. So the whole idea that nobody wants to own US debt anymore is just not, like, that's a
That's
fallacy.
reassuring, I will say. That's somewhat reassuring.
I think what's more likely to happen is that if the dollar declines, it's not an issue that the U.S. defaults on debt, but that you see bond volatility. And we know what tends to happen with that, right? But I do think on like a higher time frame thematic, we are seeing, that chart that you kind of opened the show with, Max, right? Like the Bitcoin against U.S. equities. I do think that we are probably seeing the beginnings of a long-term decoupling between those two sectors.
Did you just say decoupling, Tyler?
Get
Well,
'em.
wait,
Comment section.
I don't know yet quite what what that means for USD, but I do think on a high enough time frame, like we are seeing the beginnings of Bitcoin finally decoupling from US equities as a flight to safety. And probably with a little bit of tech beta flair to that as well. But no, I do think that the chart that you showed, right? Bitcoin against the NASDAQ, we probably will see Bitcoin continue to make new highs against the NASDAQ here for the next few years. I don't know if we're going to be parabolically ripping necessarily, but I do think if we are going to see continued turmoil in equities, which is definitely possible, right? It's definitely possible. I think at the very least, you probably see Bitcoin outperform it.
Yeah, this chart is, I mean, this is a bullish chart, right?
That's saying
You could
something right
always
there.
swing fail it at the last second. We're not there yet, but it's like I wouldn't fade this chart right here, Like this to me looks like a structured uptrend. I mean, look at this. It looks bullish to me. Every which way I look at it, it's like I'm not bearish this chart. How could I be bearish this chart? It looks like we're gonna rip a lot higher than here, honestly. It looks like we're about to put in some meat sticks, truthfully. Like it really, I mean, it feels a lot more like, something like this is brewing than some rejection. So it's like, okay, this doesn't immediately imply Bitcoin's going to like 250K. I hope it does, but it could also just mean that equities continue to like bleed and Bitcoin just kind of slowly moves higher. It doesn't mean we need to have like some crazy ripper, but it's like I don't feel concerned about being very, very overweight anything in crypto here with this chart looking like this. And by the way, we can expand this out a bit and say, okay, well, it's not even just Bitcoin. Let's look at total, right? Let's look at total against the NASDAQ. Total also looks pretty damn bullish against the NASDAQ, right? Let's
How
do
does
the
others
S&P.
look?
I'll pull that up as well. Here's total against the S&P. Like this looks like it could continue to move higher from here. Let's look at others against the NASDAQ. Obviously not as good, but like this doesn't look particularly bearish to me down here. Honestly,
It looks like it wants to pop up.
that's what I mean. Like it looks coiled to me. Like this looks like we could very easily see some move backfilling this drop up into here, like really coiled to me. And I also don't think it's a coincidence that, we came back and filled in, this inefficiency like perfectly from the Trump pump. You know what I mean? Trump wins the election. We gap up off this low. We come back 1, 2, 3, like perfect taps into this. I'm like, crypto looks really squeezy against equities here. It doesn't, to me, feel right now like we're about to like roll over and match what the Mag 7 is doing. Not at all. And here, let's look at crypto against the Mag 7. So here's the Mag 7 looking like a sack of shit today, right?
I can't find one good looking Mag 7 stock right now.
No, you can't. It's impossible. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. I think we're approaching discount territory, maybe, but I mean, let's not even consider it, right? Like, let's just look at Bitcoin against the Mag 7. Look at this chart, guys. Look at this chart. Like, look at that. That thing's about to make new highs. Look at the meat stick. This is Bitcoin against the Mag 7 as a pair. You want to fade that meat stick?
And that looks like Parabola's about to just absolutely kick off.
No, Prometheus. It looks like Parabola is about to kick off.
Yes.
Parabola a la meat stick.
That's basically like what Oracle looked like after the tech bubble.
Mm,
I want to say.
And how about total, man? This looks like the gold chart before it broke out, guys, to me. Like
Exactly what it looks like.
let's look at this. So the left is total against the Mag 7. And here's high time frame gold. I can delete all this. To me, this looks more similar to this. Like this feels kind of similar, I will say. Let's go to the 2 week actually.
It's almost as if crypto might be acting as beta to precious metals, aka gold.
Like, I don't know. I see it.
I seriously think Bitcoin could be a big player in the global currency war. Like, seriously.
Well, how about crypto? This is total right here, not just Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, this feels like we're literally doing like this thing over here, you know, like we're just like chomping higher.
Wow. Yeah. It's uncanny.
Thomas?
Sorry, I was just getting butters out of the sink.
Is that code for buying QQQ puts or something? Or is it?
No. No, I do think that we're headed for Bitcoin finally realizing its true utility. I'm still pretty bearish on equities here though. So I think my read on USD is like I'm intrigued to see what happens with crypto here. I'm not ruling out that they completely decouple, right? But I do think that equities can go a lot lower here in the near term. And if that's the case, right, what does that eventually, like, what does that mean for crypto?
I mean, where's that money going to go? Are people going to stockpile cash?
No.
Are people going to try to get yield on interest rate or interest rates most likely coming down that aren't even that high anymore? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know crystal ball, but the money's got to go somewhere,
Well, and if you notice too, over the past, it's became very apparent since kind of COVID, but money and capital really wants to seek the highest potential rate of return. Like that has been very, very apparent. When we came out of the 22 lows, what was the first thing to get bid was the Mag 7. Like money now does not want to sit in, low yielding asset classes. Like it goes straight for high yield, highest returns. Or I guess gold right now, which is up 40% since like 6 months ago, which is crazy, or maybe 12 months ago.
Yeah, I mean the gold chart is just freaking ridiculous, right?
Insane.
I actually don't even think that comparison with Bitcoin against the Mag 7 to gold is that far-fetched, to be honest. I'm not quite sure where I think we are in it, but like consolidating near range highs before a significant high time frame breakout, like I think that is a pretty good indication of where we're at with Bitcoin. And I also think with that, Bitcoin dominance, I still think it's going significantly higher. Oh my. I mean, that looks exactly like the Bitcoin bottom from this cycle, does it not?
Yeah, I've been looking at total NVIDIA, but kind of the same chart. And this is something that I mentioned last week as well. Is like, obviously the semiconductors getting a lot of uncertainty in that sector of the market. So I just took a gander at like the total crypto, divided by NVIDIA chart. It looks bottomed, right? And like, again, it's like, okay, all that money that was made in semiconductors, AI, it's been a hell of a run for that sector. Like, where is that money going to rotate to? And if you look at, Bitcoin NVIDIA or total NVIDIA, you could see that when total total NVIDIA starts to break out or is bottomed, it kind of times out exactly when we've seen, crypto bull runs. So is that the rotation like that crypto is needed? Like, I don't know, but the chart looks very interesting.
This is what you were talking about, Tommy, right? The bottom.
Yes. They look identical.
They look identical. It looks like, it literally looks like we're on like this candle. We're like forming this meat stick right here,
I think so. It also fits my NVIDIA bias because that parabola has broken.
Mm-hmm.
NVIDIA's got some work to do.
Yeah.
It does. I can't be bearish crypto when we're seeing these pair charts look like this, we can look at it 1,000 different ways. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and Tommy and I were kind of talking about there's a lot of leverage hiding out in NVIDIA. It has been the center of kind of like the leverage trade in equity land.
Carry trade has a lot to do with NVIDIA, I think.
Do we think that NVIDIA like comes down here?
Yes.
Does something like this? Because I look at this, we've talked about this before. I don't think any of us have really been like directly trading NVIDIA, but we've been talking about how, to a degree, it kind of looks like this shit over here, like some version of, like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We can even just delete this, right? Where you just had like, it's not going to be perfect, but like, you know what I mean? And like this was this. So it's like, well, where does that naturally, like, where did Bitcoin bottom? Came down to that low.
Yeah, you're seeing that repricing occurring in NVIDIA right now. Like the whole ban on selling to China is currently getting repriced. To say that doesn't affect their bottom line, that's $5 billion in revenue.
NVIDIA might just go for it. You know what I mean?
Seeing a move like that happen makes sense, right? Like continues to bleed, right? Uncertainty. Then everything kind of gets figured out a couple months down the road, and then you see a nice big recovery, But definitely, I think it has more pain ahead. But I think that could be a good thing for crypto. Honestly, I really do.
I think something like TSM is a pretty good reflection that NVIDIA has a good bit further to go.
And capital finding value outside of the semiconductor trade, in my opinion, is could be very bullish for the rest of the market. Because it's been a massive vacuum of liquidity for the better part of past year and a half. So for capital to find its way out of that trade, I think could be very, very bullish for crypto.
This thing doesn't look very reassuring to me. This is like, you better figure things out right here,
Yeah.
I don't want to know what's below here.
Yeah, that looks terrible.
Well, because it's like, what if you lose this level? Where do you go? It's like, well, the next level's here. You know what I mean?
Then that looks like the USD JPY, right? That structure.
Look at it. Here, are you talking about like,
which is why I think like the dollar is pretty much the key here. If the dollar keeps dropping, we're probably going to keep seeing flight from US capital markets.
Holy shit, look at this trend line, man. Tommy, can you narrate what the hell is going on with this chart a little bit?
Just yen was very cheap to borrow. And I think it's just when you have so much volatility in things that are often used to collateralize asset purchases, general liquidity in the market. You know, you need to, for liquidity to return, right? And Prometheus was kind of talking about this earlier on the show, right? Liquidity is at, on a 5-year basis, like almost near the lows. It's difficult for liquidity to return when the assets that you're supposed to be collateralizing a majority of the liquidity in the market are showing this much volatility, right? So really, we just need USD JPY to chill the fuck out, but it's looking like it actually wants to accelerate lower, which again, what does that mean for the dollar? And again, I think is also, you know, symbolic in the sense that we are probably seeing the beginnings of the rotation into Bitcoin on a much broader scale as a digital storage of value. The question to me is just, okay, what do U.S. equities do here in the meantime? Because if USD JPY is heavily correlated to something like TSM, to NVIDIA, we could see indices fall pretty I mean, realistically, we could see Mag 7 stocks get nuked with very little effect on the actual economy that's underlying it. Obviously, indices would come down a lot, but like, I don't really know what that looks like. The market would probably drop, but I don't think it would really hurt the economy per se, unless you're getting bond volatility that accompanies it. And I think in both scenarios, right, when kind of the dust settles, it's very bullish for Bitcoin.
I mean, the Mag 7 just looks so fucked, man. It just looks so bad. I don't know. I mean, I feel like your best case here locally is just like, you just sweep this low. Like, you just do this, and then you can like get some good news and recover or something. But if you don't do that immediately, then it's just like obviously here, and then maybe even here. It's like, I don't know. Just looks bad. Looks so bad. Here, let's do this. Let's try something out here. Mag 7 divided by DXY. I mean, what are we talking about here, man? It is. Look at Mag 7 divided by DXY. Like, oh my goodness. It's just fried, man. That looks scary, doesn't it?
I think I saw a statistic over the weekend that right now we're seeing correlations finally ramp back up, where typically what we see from bull markets is, or like when we see the rotation in the small caps, right? It's usually indicative of very bullish conditions. But when we're seeing these correlations ramp up like we are right now with, I mean, because everything's kind of built on the back of the Mag 7 at the end of the day, we're seeing correlations really pick up. And they're beginning to reach, I think, like 5-year highs. Which, I mean, could signify that we're close to a bottom, right? If the Fed is going to step in, if the Treasury is going to step in, I don't think that should be ignored.
Yeah, when we see correlations like we're seeing right now, it is very, very, very indicative of high time frame bottoms. When you have the markets across the board, reaching valuations, which, I mean, valuations have gotten completely bludgeoned from where they were at. And Tommy had said this. I love this quote, or what you said was, P's don't matter until you're on the way down. And valuations have come down significantly. Markets historically, when they're extremely correlated in the manner they are, is marked high time frame bottoms. When you have a percentage of the S&P, less or more than only 15 to 20% of the S&P over their 200-day moving average. That's historically a bottom, which is the level that we're at right now. Yeah, I for the most part am in the camp that the slowdown in growth has likely been majority priced in at this moment. Now, and any other, potential systemic event is obviously not. So Tommy and I were kind of talking about that. That on the way down, what happens is the leverage in the system is the issue. And the leverage has been tested, but nothing is broke. So, as long as that leverage doesn't get flushed out of the market, then we're probably pretty okay, in my opinion. We might have, I'm not saying we go back to, new all-time highs on the indices, but, markets are a little spooked right now. But like I said, from a materialization standpoint, if we get resolution on the board, you see a pretty large recovery in a majority of the names, and the stock market, and you're at pretty good valuations right now, barring we don't go into recession. So,
well, yeah, if you get a bull crush from here, given the amount of put interest that we've had, you probably do see equities basically trade back to all-time highs.
Yeah, I'm targeting 5,800 to 6,000 flat, right around there on the S&P. And like I said, we had a ton of volume come in on the VIX on both sides at 50 and at 16, huge amounts. And so you also have this gamma range, or this range on the VIX, which options are kind of telling, which is between 42 and 20. And the volume's coming in outside of those levels, meaning that we're expecting a blowout on either side of the trade, or this new volume that's coming in is expecting a blowout on either side. We're either getting a huge crush, or we're getting another blowout above 50. So
what could possibly go wrong?
I don't know, man. You tell me.
I mean, looking at the VIX here, it's you gotta cap it at 37.
I think that's what this is. I think
you gotta just do this and then jeet your way down here, and then this happens, Bitcoin's gonna rip, right?
Valhalla.
Bitcoin probably goes to 95 or higher if that happens. But
can we take a look at Caspa? We're getting a lot of requests for Caspa.
Yeah, I see Todd. I see the OG Todd Alquist in the chat. Wanting some Caspa TA.
I see Radiant in there too.
Yeah. What's up, Radiant?
Radiant.
I'll tell you what. I mean, obviously the obvious names, strong off the lows. Farcoin, Pepe has been pretty strong off the lows. Hyperliquid. I'd have to throw Caspa in that hat as well. Hat in the ringer here. It's just been, I still watch Caspa. It's on the watch list. And anytime you get a green day or some sort of bounce out of crypto, Caspa's been one of the strongest moving tokens off the lows. Tons of overhead supply to deal with once you get up to that level. But I mean, I can't deny the fact it's been very strong off the lows, and on days where we see bounces, it's been moving, right? It's been moving. So, I think it's worth paying attention to. I really do.
Yeah, from a tokenomics perspective too, from Caspa, they had this accelerated halving cycle compared to Bitcoin. And obviously one of the big issues was the new ASIC miners that came online at the highs and all that supply getting dumped onto the markets. But now, I mean, the majority of the Caspa supply is mined out. I think it's, more.
Wait, hold on. Someone says it's not a token. What do you mean by that? What are you saying? What is it then?
It's a coin, Louis. It's obviously a coin. Okay.
It's a coin, not a token.
Well, what is it that
Semantics.
What is it that Jesse Pollock has been saying?
Oh, it's a coin. Okay, my bad.
Coin it.
Yeah,
coin it. Let's coin it.
Did you guys see that or listen into that space that he was on after they like rugged that?
No, I haven't. What was it good?
Daisies
Oh
for
my
everyone.
gosh, he was so insensitive to like all these. There's like all these people up on the panel, like, you just destroyed all of CT. How could you? And he's like, thanks for building on base, guys.
It's like a $15 million market cap coin. You just destroyed the entire
I know, what?
ecosystem.
I think a lot of our Discord bought that at the lows too and ran it back.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. He was
We're
just
just
on
gonna go.
that
We're just gonna go
space.
coin some more.
Yeah, he's like, we just tokenize everything. You know, you create 10 coins and they call you a rugor, and then you create 1,000 coins and they call you a savant or something like that.
It's like we're gonna tokenize the internet. We've been doing that for pretty much the entire cycle. That's been like a huge theme with meme coins. But one thing I was thinking about over the weekend is how we don't actually need Coinbase and Binance to do that. Like, we don't need a middleman that's extracting value in between. We can tokenize meme coins without them completely. Look at Solana.
But what's the point of like putting like content on chain? Like, I don't.
Because you can speculate on the value of an internet meme, right? Like, you can only do that in crypto. Pepe is
Like this stream, like that's what they're talking about. They're like, oh, we'll take this stream, we'll coin it. Like, who's buying this?
I mean, people
Like
don't have
alpha,
to.
we're giving
They can
alpha,
buy it.
but it's
I
free
think
anyways.
it's an interesting proof of concept, that I think a few platforms have tried to do with things like SocialFi, right? Friendtech, giving people kind of like the ability or really kind of anything, the ability to raise capital if investors are interested, right? Not to say that, a lot of things haven't gotten way overvalued relative to their relevance to internet culture, but I do think it's an interesting concept, right? That I think has some validity, but not everything does, right? I think, what's the most Lindy meme on the internet? It's Pepe. There's a reason Pepe is still trading at billions of dollars in market cap. But again, I don't think Pepe needs an entity like Coinbase to greenlight it and then also extract a few percentage off the top effectively, or Binance for that matter, right? Like, if we want to tokenize internet culture, we can do that. And if they want to participate, then their role can be pumping the coin.
I feel like Caspa could be bottomed. I don't know. It doesn't.
I think it is.
It could be. I own a little bit.
From the throwback.
It's a wild chart.
It is. It's like the rainbow.
I think you get some more strength out of majors, and you saw something like this. It's like, yeah, you probably come up here.
Yeah. That's where you got to watch out.
Because I know there was people were talking about shit coining on Caspa, and they need to do something to incentivize people to come back to it. Because I mean, I had the strong narrative of it being, what BTC was always meant to be, or something like Ghost Dag and all that. Yeah, they just got to incentivize people to get back there, and I think they can. The Caspa community is very culty, and they have a really, really strong community. So if they do the right things, it won't be very hard to bring mindshare back to it.
I think it's totally fine. They just need to stop saying that it's a test. Bitcoin was a test net for Caspa, and they'll probably be fine. So honestly, I think that's
usually not a good avenue to go.
No, I think it's
trying to compete with Bitcoin is never how you win in the long run.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a winning strategy, is trying to like talk down on Bitcoin, even if they don't mean it like that. I think that's how it comes off, but I don't hate how this chart looks. Louis, I'm going to get you back. Oh, wait, Louis, are you here? I was going to get you back on the screen if you were. I don't know if he's here.
I feel like this is one Binance is going to want to take over, right?
Yeah.
Probably. I would have to imagine they've been accumulating some supply, or who knows? Maybe they were just kind of shorting it on perps and now they're buying the supply with profits or just closing shorts. I have no idea. I haven't looked at any of the derivatives for Caspa, but I remember this dumped when this got listed on Binance. Has this been listed on the Binance spot market? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
I don't think it has very many like large centralized exchange listings.
So let's have some fun with this. Ready? So you can see here, I will change this to, actually, let's do this. This will be better. It got listed on Binance Perps when it turned green up top here. Let me make it a little more visible. Actually, it's probably fine. Well, we can do better. Let's just make it like super visible. It got listed on Binance Perps right here. So it was super, super bullish. And then it gets listed on Binance Perps right here. And then just distribution o'clock right up top. So you could be right that this is one that they just like pulled the boat right back into the dock so that they could accumulate spot for a listing at some point.
It's also when Marathon, the Bitcoin miner, was like, we're buying enough ASICs to have 25% of the hash rate.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
they
remember
cooked this chart, man. They used it to subsidize their business for
Yep.
sure. They just farmed it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the fundamentals haven't changed, right?
Yeah, I think it was like Dash was pretty similar, like comparable from, what was that, 2017 cycle? Or maybe last cycle. Can't remember, but
Dash. Wow, man. It's one of
I
the
mean,
first altcoins I ever heard about.
ETH's been pretty much down only when it switched from proof of work to proof of stake.
yeah, man. I remember when that happened too. I was at Micro Center and I was buying a 3080 GPU.
Yeah. Oh, you were buying the miner?
I was buying a graphics card for my computer.
Wow.
And I had to sleep in the parking lot because all these Bitcoin or like Ethereum and Bitcoin miner guys were like scalping them. And so to get one, the supply was so messed up that you'd have to like, these stores would get like 5 of these graphics cards in every week. And I was like, slept in the parking lot and like woke up super early, like to get in line and get one. Yeah, that was crazy.
Make mining great again.
Dude, right?
Did you make money off mining Caspa?
Can you anymore? I don't know if you can anymore, but it was dumb lucrative back in the beginning.
I mean, does it get more lucrative as price goes up or no? Or less?
It's well, I mean, yeah, it gets more lucrative as price goes up, but earlier on they were having, it's one of those things where if you got into Bitcoin mining, early on you did a lot better just because you get more rewards per block.
What kind of what would a miner cost for like something like Caspa?
The Caspa K2 miners, like fresh off the block, were like 30 or 40K, I'm pretty sure.
Sheesh.
But I mean, back when they first came out, you could have mined for like a few months and made your money back.
Wow. The real easy mode.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're cheaper now, though. I'm sure the demand probably dropped off a cliff.
Oh, 100%. I can look it up.
I'm sure you can get cheap ones now.
Oh, we got a super chat from Todd. Shout out, Todd. Thank you for always tuning into Market Check, brother. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Todd's an OG. Todd's been around for a long time.
Does this trend line matter, guys?
Yes. 92K is more important, though.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Breaking this trend brings us to 92K, and then that's the big level.
And I think maybe even more so too is here, let me pull up Bitcoin here. Is the high that we got at the beginning of March when they announced the like seized asset reserve, getting above that like 94K and change mark. That's the real like get over that. It's probably game on.
Here you go, Louis. You're on the chart now.
Nice.
Nice.
Nice. Equity still puking.
Yeah, indices are down almost 3%.
VIX about to fill that gap. I'll tell you what, if equities get a nice bounce in the second half of the day, crypto is really going to rip.
Yeah, that's true.
Feel it.
What do you guys think about gold here?
It's got to be locally topped soon.
I think it is close.
I have a fib here at 3,400. We're literally at it right now. So,
I mean,
I
it's
just
got
don't even know how you get in
right
front of
there.
this train.
I mean, bro, this thing is.
It's the currency war, man. I mean, China's buying up. The United States is clearly buying. It's boomers are buying. You know, like flight to safety, everything. It kind of got, in my opinion, like the holy trinity of gold got like the holy trinity of market conditions to come together all at the right time for it to do what it just did.
Is Peter Schiff tweeting? That's a good one.
I think he's still
Peter Schiff is running a space.
Oh my god.
Best trader I know just shorted gold. That's why I ask.
I wouldn't mind trying something here, but I would be careful to not get your head blown off. But
Yep.
I like this spot.
Well, there was that Trump tweet where he says, he who has the gold makes the rules. Yeah. I don't know if that's like they're preparing for a Fort Knox audit or what. I don't know.
But I don't think he would say that if we didn't have the gold. Right?
I don't know.
I feel like I never know.
You never know.
Wherever it goes.
I mean, you just flipped your 2618. I mean, you'd have to swing fail this, I guess, but
Pax G. Short it.
dude, I don't know. I don't want to touch this thing. I mean, I don't have the nuts to short something like this. Not here.
I know somebody who does.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see.
Boomers have been waiting 40 years for this.
I mean,
like,
these are
finally happened.
Conditions, man.
Yeah.
Unironically, like historic market conditions.
Yeah. They're like, finally, all my gold bars in my safe. It's always good to own some gold. Jeez, I'm melding my words there.
It's funny to me that This is something I thought about tweeting over the weekend. I decided not to. It's like people will shit on you for buying a gold watch because they look corny, I guess, and then hold Solana down like 60%.
Has Tucker's watch outperformed the market?
Oh, 100%.
Yes, it has.
He's got to sell that thing.
Gold watches, I can't imagine like how well they've probably retained and increased in value over the last few months.
Well, actually, the watch market,
I
not
didn't know that.
not gold market or not gold watches, but yeah, the watch market in general has gotten bludgeoned. It's like down bad. It's like crypto down bad.
Is it really that down bad?
Yes, like down bad from the COVID highs.
Wow. Well, I didn't know it was that bad, but I would assume that gold watches have held their value pretty well.
Yeah, it's like cars. Like if you buy the certain Ferrari or you buy like the certain, Mercedes, the ultra rare, they'll appreciate in value like similar to fine art. But the majority of the market does not hold the value like that.
Did somebody say fine art?
Somebody did say fine art.
Is there fine art on Bitcoin?
Mm.
I'm kidding. No, I'm totally kidding. I used to make that joke, man. Clearly, the market has determined that there is not fine art on Bitcoin. Can I give my spiciest take of the show?
Yeah, brother, go for it.
I could see Bitcoin dominance hitting 80% this year.
Wow. Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
I know that's a very spicy take.
I mean,
96.
Yeah, just go back. Go back to all-time highs.
Yeah, this is wild.
It could that narrative or thesis could kind of coincide with the whole currency war thesis that I brought up at the beginning of the show, capital flooding to Bitcoin, destruction of the fiat monetary system, Bitcoin's true nature, Bitcoin's true nature rises. Yeah.
Well, eventually that money comes back into altcoins, right?
Yeah.
The higher we go on Bitcoin dominance, the bigger the eventual rotation is going to be.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like that Bitcoin dominance chart is just like slow grind, man.
Yeah.
What does the RSI look like on that, Louis? That looks pretty good.
It's not even like at like the highest overbought yet again. Yeah. Probably coming up here.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I mean, when we were at like 50%, like 55% on that chart, I think around that time frame, I was like, there's no way this thing's going higher. And it just kept going.
It's just been giving like local blow-offs and then perpetually grinding up on a higher time frame.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Literally.
I think indicative of the flows we're seeing from Bitcoin ETFs kind of reflect that though, right?
What if we get like a BlackRock institutional induced wealth effect that creates an environment for, alt season to where, if you remember last cycle, the reason why alts did very well particularly is because so many people were originally started out holding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and because then the capital rotated into alts. Now, what if we have a similar effect occurs with like the institutional capital that's entered this market, and then it like trickles, they start opening up all these different investment vehicles and start funding them. I don't know, just a crazy thought.
I think the rotation into alts will be fundamentally driven, honestly.
Oh, 100%. I agree.
I think like the broad rotation is likely to occur from adoption of something like ETH or whatever ends up being kind of like the L1 blockchain of choice. Eventually, we will build something, I think, truly meaningful on these systems. But as far as when that is, I have no idea, right? So it's just kind of easier to be bullish on Bitcoin and knowing at the same time there are still going to be a handful of alts that continue to garner native flows in the same way that Bitcoin has been garnering TradFi flows.
And a lot of people have been talking about the issue with like Ethereum's revenue capture system. And I think they're working on implementing a solution to that to where they're able to capture fees from like these layer twos and like daisy chain off of them.
What does Solana look like today?
It was red and then it was green and now it's flat.
You ever accidentally typed in soy for the Solana ticker? I mean, I feel like this is kind of, I think we talked about it last week. Like we want to start seeing things like Sol, BNB, and ETH break market structure.
Yeah. Kind of needs to hold this red zone here. We deviated it. We're back inside. You flip it, could have a shot at coming up in here.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of like every other chart we're looking at. It's like we're at great spots for potential bottoms. Got room to run for like a nice, couple weeks worth of squeeze at some point, and then a lot of these charts are going to come into big areas where it's like they got to flip it to go, or they're going to get rejected and it's fucked. So pretty much across the board, kind of looking like that. But in the meantime, I think we have a nice squeeze ahead of us. If I had to guess on the direction.
How do you guys feel about Hyperliquid? What are your guys' thoughts there?
Strong coin.
Yeah.
Very strong coin.
The one that got away. Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing the right thing. They're doing some good things over there. They're doing the right things.
I mean, I feel like it continues to be the most attractive fundamental asset that you can invest in crypto at current prices.
Yeah.
I guess other than that, maybe something like AVE is attractive. I don't really consider XRP in the fundamental camp. I kind of consider it more of a meme coin. But I don't think that's, I don't say that as like a bearish statement. XRP is the original crypto meme coin.
Yeah. Looks ready to pop. Something like that.
What does the top 5 look like in crypto right now? I don't even, I bet, I mean, Tether's probably there, Bitcoin, BNB, ETH. Okay, yeah, XRP's fourth. Coming up on Tether.
Yeah.
God, there's still so many coins in the top 10 that I'm just like, what in the world? Cardano and Tron are 9 and 10.
I was gonna say it's TRX up there, yeah.
It's 9, which I guess is fair given the activity on the chain. Unfortunately, the chart is still completely schizophrenic.
It's starting to move a little bit. I think if Tron flips 25 cents, it's gonna rip.
What do some of these Bitcoin charts look like? Because I feel like that's probably going to become increasingly important, given our thoughts on Bitcoin dominance at the moment. Jeez, that wick is so
Oh.
funny.
I mean, this isn't bad. But
Tough
weird
to-
chart.
Slow grind or at resistance. I guess we'll see.
XRP BTC has been holding up very well.
Yes, it has.
This is kind of how I'm looking at it.
XRP is strong, man. I mean, strong.
This looks like a springboard. Open it here.
I feel like this. I'm about to highlight a comment that I feel like is just very much a crypto-driven sentiment. 3 to 4x at best. Who wants that?
That's I if I had to guess, and I'm just guessing here, this is someone that's newer to this cycle, has only invested in meme coins and hasn't seen what could happen in a real crypto bull run as far as utility tokens, L1s, L2s.
It's
I had to guess.
funny to me, man. It's not enough returns for me.
Remember when Will used to always be like, I'm not interested in a 10x. That's not enough.
Yeah.
All right, we were talking about Doge.
I was like, Will, like it could go from like 5 or 6 cents to like $1. Not interested. No.
Not interested.
More.
Oh my god. That is like a very prevailing theme, I feel like, from this cycle.
Yep.
Any other coins that are sticking out to us at the moment, guys?
I mean, we've talked about Farcoin a lot. If that, I think
We
still
haven't
is
talked
very
about
good.
it today.
Haven't talked about it today.
Has been kind of our risk sentiment indicator.
A lot of people got bearish on this little pullback over the weekend.
They did.
I think that was mainly caused by AIXBT. Did you guys hear about that?
I saw that.
I feel like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it said like there was like a huge unlock for Fartcoin. I'm pretty sure it spurred the big sell-off.
And I just don't even think it was true, was it?
No, it's
No,
I think it
Fartcoin
just made it up.
Yeah, it did.
It was also saying Trump was going to nuke too.
That
Source,
I think was
I
correct.
made it
though.
up.
Well, the unlocks were correct, but it was incorrect that like the price hasn't moved. It's actually gone up since the unlock. So, yeah. But I mean, this
We
looks,
just need too slow Jerome to cut some rates for us.
Mr. Always Late.
Loser.
Yeah, what a giant loser, man. Too slow. Always too slow.
Him calling Powell Mr. Late reminds me of, I don't know why it made me think about that like 21 Savage song, Mr. Right Now. I've just been like playing that song in my head. Like, oh yeah, that's Jerome Powell is not Mr. Right Now. He's never going to cut rates. I do think Powell is going to be late, by the way.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Yeah, in the comments, I do
100%.
think he's going to be
He
late.
doesn't. He doesn't want to put a helmet on. He'd rather crack his head open and then try to fix it. Like it's so stupid, honestly. At this point,
Mr. Too Late.
Powell does not want to be the guy to get blamed for inflation coming back. I feel like he is adamantly against it, but I do think it's going to lead him to he's going to cut interest rates way too late.
So you're saying that he is actually Mr. Too Late?
I do. I think Trump is right in his the way that he's defining Powell right now. But I don't think it's going to make Powell cut rates. The rhetoric. It's probably made him more stubborn.
Did you see those clips where someone was asking, if some reporter was asking Trump about it, and he's like, "Oh, he'll be gone if I want him gone. He'll be gone real quick," Like Powell must just be watching that, just being like, "What the fuck is going on? Like this guy's just threatening my job. Like I'm not even doing anything."
Powell's probably just reached the point of acceptance where he's just like, well, I can come to work every day. There's no guarantee I'll be here next week. I'm going to just do whatever I want, which is why I think last week he just went no holds barred on the market.
I wonder if that's what it's gonna be, of just like Trump picking on him, and then Powell's just like, okay, how's another 5% red day sound, Trump? And we're all just sitting here like, please fix the markets, please, please.
When is the
Waiting for
next
them.
FOMC? It's in
I think
May.
it's May 7th, I think.
Oh God, that cannot get here soon enough.
I don't know, bro. I don't know if I'm ready for it. I feel like Powell's just going to be Mr. Hawk up there. Honestly,
Call your shot. Does Powell cut rates at the next meeting?
I don't think so, bro.
I think he does.
I don't know if he does. I feel like we'll see if he wants to keep his job. But here's what's going to happen is, even if he cuts rates, if he gives us like a 25 basis point, Trump's going to come out and be like, good start, but not enough. Mr. Too should have cut by 100 basis points.
Loser.
Yeah, what a giant loser.
Still a loser.
Yeah. Let me see. So the probabilities for next meeting are
like 1% that he cuts 50 plus basis points. I think
I'd be-
there's
dude,
kinda
it's
crazy.
0%. It's a 0% chance of a 50.
Oh, I was looking at Polymarket.
Okay. I was looking at the CME Group website. Looks like there's I mean, wait, what are we at right now? Are we at 425 to 450?
Yeah.
So it looks like there's an 87% chance of no cut.
Well, the reason
13%.
why I don't think there's going to be a cut, and I mean, they've stated over the past, 2 meetings now, that they are in wait and see mode. Like, they are not going to try to get ahead of anything, and they're very timid right now. I would be shocked if they cut.
I feel
think
like
it's
they're
cut.
only going to cut just because Trump is picking on them so much, right?
I don't think they give a damn. Honestly, I genuinely think they don't care. They
You could
have
be right.
Yeah, they've made it clear this entire time since the inflation scare that they have a goal, they're sticking to it, they're, data driven, yada yada. Like, they are staying the course, and no matter how bad Trump wants them to cut, to bring rates lower, they're not worried about that. Like,
How
they're
can I
like,
bet on this, Prometheus?
what's up?
How can I bet on this with the highest potential ROI?
Mm, on like what side?
The side of rate cuts.
I mean, bro, you bet on rate cuts by buying shit coins.
I don't know, like, because at this point, we were in the clear to start cutting very, very obviously. Like, they were pricing it in. And, the rhetoric behind the Fed was very much like, things are looking really good. Inflation's coming down. The job market's still, decently strong. We're going to start to ease here. And then Trump was like, tariff hammer, boom, and just like, messed up the direction. And they're, because when they plan these things and when they predict and plan for something, the Fed specifically, it takes, months, if not quarters, to come to a thesis uh, based off of direction. And when you have an unknown variable enter in, and such a large one come in very hot, it really shakes things up for them. And they have to completely change their models. They have to completely change their thesis and their outlook. And, they need, several meetings with, all the chairs together to try to come to some form of conclusion. Right. And so they're like, whoa, 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 we need to slow down here, and we need to like reevaluate. And that's where I think they're at right now. They're like,
you
what the
Do you
F
think
does
the
Trump
Fed
do?
has time on their side, Prometheus, the way this market is trading, though?
Like Louis had said, I agree that, and like you had said, I think they're gonna be too late. But based off of like they have a goal in mind, and they don't really care about the markets. Like they genuinely, like, they just want to the main thing they want to do is reduce volatility. Like that's their main objective, is to reduce volatility. But I think it's largely out of their hands right now, from a volatility perspective. But I think that they're going to stay steadfast until something probably breaks, to be quite frank.
It's going to be a really interesting next few weeks. I feel like we should conclude the show by talking about our crime of the day. Can you pull up LUCE, Louis?
Right. Why is this becoming a new segment?
Yeah, I love this. This is awesome.
I think we need to get on a lower time frame than that even. I mean, the Pope died, obviously, which is why it pumped today. RIP. But this huge, I wonder if somebody knew this was going to happen and just dumped their whole stack.
But what is this?
This is the mascot of the
Vatican.
Yeah, of the Vatican.
There's a mascot of the Vatican. Isn't that Jesus?
Apparently. I mean, I went to Rome last year.
They have a mascot?
No, they don't. It's not a...
Dude, that's doing way too much. It's not an NBA team. Like, why do they have a mascot?
It is becoming a daily segment, though, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I like it. We got to keep up with this.
God. Pure crime. If you traded this on perps, there's a pretty good chance you got liquidated.
Oh my.
Wow, that really is crime, isn't it?
Bottom.
Did you guys see the interview with him? With the founder of Ohm? Oh god, that was great. Yeah, you guys got to watch that one. I have no idea what this $30 million transaction is on Binance.
Mistakes were made in a wallet that I controlled.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, guys. First link in the description below to the BB terminal. We opened up our state-of-the-art portfolio tracker 100% for free, guys. Check it out. It's a gift from us to you guys. Check it out. First link below, you just enter your email. Sign up takes about 10 seconds. You can manually or automatically import all of your wallets by copy-pasting addresses or inputting transactions. However you want to do it, multiple ways to go about it. But again, totally 100% for free. Would love if you guys would check that out. Give us some feedback. We're going to run a little commercial for you guys. Again, you can find that first link in the description below. We will see you again tomorrow for another episode of Market Check. Take care.
Welcome to the all-new BB Terminal portfolio. Faster, smarter, and now free for everyone. Signing up is easy. Just use your Google account to get started in seconds. Once you're in, you'll get a clean, aggregated view of all your wallets. Or dive into individual wallets for more control. We support Wallet Connect for seamless syncing. And don't worry, we use industry-standard encryption to keep your data safe and secure. Prefer not to connect your wallet? No problem, just use our manual entry mode. Choose as many tokens as you like. Then plug in your transactions. It's quick and intuitive. Watch your portfolio stats and charts update in real time. Your portfolio refreshes automatically every hour, but you can also sync instantly with just one click. BB Terminal Portfolio, available to everyone for free.